The only e.l.f. foundation I really like is the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. So when I saw the announcement on Instagram that they were launching the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation, my initial thought was, well, they just repackaged this. So I asked them if this was a repackage of this. And they said, no, she's totally new. So I was super curious and was on the site at launch time. Took me a few minutes to decide on a shade, but 5 minutes after launch, I had purchased this one and it was on its way. I settled on the shade 20 Light Cool. It's kind of going back and forth between this one and I think it was 14 or 15. It was really hard to tell. And when I saw live swatches of these, I was really concerned because they all looked so warm, even the cool shades. I know when I'm picking foundations online, I always go too light. So this time I decided to go with the dark one and see how it goes. And I actually think I picked pretty well. And then of course it showed up in my mailbox just before we were leaving to go away for 3 days to my daughter's last dance competition of the season. So I had to wait to film it until we got back. I did not, however, wait to use it until we got back, and I will tell you all about that in just a little bit. I know that I'm not the first one to get a review out there, but one thing I've seen in the comment sections of a lot of the videos that I've watched is how does it compare to the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation? And I haven't seen anybody put these two head to head, so that's what I'm doing today. One on one side of my face, one on the other, and I'm going to show you what they look like in natural light, in bright sunlight, and I'm going to do a wear test as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, then don't go anywhere. e.l.f. describes this as a long-lasting foundation with a satin finish. It provides breathable, medium, buildable coverage. As you can see here, it is in a squeezy tube with a nozzle opening, and it is a thicker cream texture. It contains 1% hibiscus complex plus pomegranate, blueberry, and goji berry extracts. e.l.f. doesn't really say what these flower and fruit extracts are supposed to do for your skin, but they're in there. As I alluded to earlier, I did use this on Saturday and Sunday over the weekend. I forgot to take a blending sponge or a foundation brush with me, so I just put it on with my fingers. In the application you're going to see today, though, I did dab it on with my fingers and blended it in with a sponge the way I usually do my foundation. I put the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation in Alabaster on the left side of my face, and I put the new e.l.f. Soft Glam Foundation in 20 Light Cool on the right side of my face. They actually have a very similar texture. This is the new Soft Glam, and this is the existing Flawless Satin. They're a little confusing. They both have satin in the name, but anyway. So if I just kind of blend it out a little, you can see that the older one is a little bit warmer shade than the new one, but they feel very similar. So on this side, I have the old Flawless Satin Foundation, and I just dabbed it on with my finger and pounced it in with a sponge. And then on the right side, I used the new Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I got a little much on my cheek, but I worked a little harder to blend that so that I reduced the amount that was there. I just didn't put all of that in. The Soft Glam Foundation claims to be buildable, and I know that the older foundation is, and so I put that to the test by building up each foundation just a little on my cheeks, and it did give a little bit more coverage. And then I set my face with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Loose Translucent Setting Powder, and I feel like it just gave such a beautiful blur to my complexion. By the way, I didn't put any primer on this morning. I was going to, and I got so excited to put the foundation on that I just forgot. So the wear test today is without any primer. And in this picture, you can see how it's sitting on my skin, and I think it looks really, really pretty. It is not giving me polka dot pores. It's not settled in any fine lines. It looks good around my nose. It looks good on my forehead. And I'm really happy with how both foundations apply. I then went in with my Essence Plus Matte Concealer. I suppose I could have used the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, which I really like as well. But this is in one of my panning projects, and so I'm really trying to use it up. And then I have some other newer e.l.f. products that I figured if I was doing e.l.f., why not just throw them in? Some of these I reviewed before, some of them I just kind of mentioned. I use the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand, the contour, and my shade is fair. This is a really nice, cool toned contour shade for fair skin. I have reviewed this in a previous video. I will put that up in the cards if you haven't seen that review, but I really do like this. It blends out so easily. I decided not to bronze today, and so I went into the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush in Dusty Rose. This is very pigmented. I used just 2 small dots and then blended with my finger and finished blending with a brush. I think I actually prefer to finish blending with a sponge. It's a little bit on the warm leaning side of pink, which actually goes really well with the lip liner that I have for later. But then when I did my eyes, I ended up getting much more pink than I thought I was going to. So there's a little mismatch in my undertone of my makeup, but it's all right. For my eyes, I used this LA Colors Color Vibe palette in Rose. I didn't film that. So for the lip that you're going to see in the natural light footage, I used a new Cream Glide lip liner. I was trying to get one that was a little more pink and not quite so warm, and I was not successful. This one is Truth or Bear. I'm going to give you swatches of all of them so that you can see. They are super creamy. Earlier, I had gotten 3 of these, and one of them was Pinky Swear, so that's this one. And that's probably as pink as I have. And if you guys know if there's one that's more pink than this, please let me know. Then I have Spill the Tea, and this one is definitely a brown. And Mauve Aside was an attempt to get kind of a mauve-y one. But not really a very good attempt because it is still kind of on the brown side. Anyway, I still like them even though I haven't been able to find one that's more of a cool pink. I don't know what it is about e.l.f. why everything pulls warm. e.l.f., if you're listening, can we get some true cool pink tones in your lip products, please? Thanks. And the reason I wanted a pinker one is because I got the Jelly Pop Glow Reviver lip oil in the watermelon scent. And it has a little splash of shimmer in it as well. So I was kind of wanting something to go with that. It does have, you can see the little gold kind of shimmer in there. And it does smell watermelon-ish. It's not as watermelon smelling, it's hard to say, as the primer, I don't think. But if you don't like that minty smell and taste of the other one, then you might like this. It's watermelon, but it almost has a little bite to it somehow. I don't know. And it's pretty well clear with just a little shimmer. I think I'll put some on. Why not? If you notice, by the way, in my try-on videos, I had put on a Catrice lip oil that has a pH adjusting. It makes my lips so bright pink, and I forgot how bright pink it makes them. I'm not sure that that's what I'm going to be using again. And then I went into my bathroom because I was getting ready to go to work and I needed to brush my teeth. And I looked in the mirror and I was a little surprised because this side of my face seemed so much more blurred and smooth through here. I have some larger pores in this area of my cheek, and I do try to sometimes use a blurring primer, but remember I did not put any primer on today at all. And so I was really surprised. And I tried to take some pictures by my window to see if I could capture what I was seeing in my bathroom mirror so that you guys could see it too. So I'm going to put those side by side, and you let me know if you can see the blurry on the Soft Glam side. So then I went to natural light by my window, and I really thought it was pretty. This is the old e.l.f. side. And this was the new Soft Glam side. Other than the slight blurring that I mentioned, I don't know that I can tell much difference between the two of them. Then, of course, we want to see what it looks like out in the bright sunshine. Both of these look beautiful outside. There's nothing being emphasized on my skin and really just a soft satin finish. And I had the best of intentions to do like a 4 or 5 hour check-in when I got home from work, but I had to run to Walmart after work, and by the time I got home, I was starving and I needed to eat, and then I wanted to get into planning this video so I could video it before I ran out of daylight. And here I am sitting here now with this foundation on my face for 9 hours. I have not touched it at all. It is looking a little shiny, but I think if I had actually remembered to use my mattifying primer beforehand, It would not be this shiny. And I know that because I used this the previous 2 days with a mattifying primer, and it went for 12 or 14 hours both days and looked amazing. The thing is, even though it's a little shiny, it does not feel tacky and it's not rubbing off on my hands. I'm going to pull you in a little closer so that you can see both sides are still in place and neither side is settled in anything. I've talked before about how I have this really deep wrinkle on the side of my face here, and foundation always gathers there. This is not gathered there. But both sides of my nose look good. I have blown my nose today, but there's still foundation there. Maybe not as much as there was this morning, but there's still foundation there. The blush is still in place. And like I said, I am looking a little shiny, but normally I don't do this, but today I'm going to. I am actually going to blot just a little bit and then set with some powder because like I said, it's almost actually 9.5 hours and it's about 5 o'clock. So if I needed to do something this evening, I probably would blot and powder and go. So I'm going to do that for you right now. And there's a tiny bit of transfer on the tissue from doing that, but not a lot. Let's pull out some e.l.f. Halo Glow and see what we can do here. When I do touch up like this, which isn't often, I like to do it with a velour puff. And I put some on and then tap it off on the back of my hand so that I don't get a ton. And then I really need a mirror. Hang on. Yeah, and I always get foundation gathered in these creases right here. Neither side did that. People have been trying to figure out what this is duping. And I'm not a great one for figuring out dupes because I don't have hardly any high-end products. But just intuitively, I don't know if they're actually duping another product or just improve upon one that they already have. And the reason I think that is because their dupes have been kind of on the higher end of the price range for e.l.f. Like foundations coming in at $14, $16, that kind of thing. Blushes, lipsticks, $9. And this one was a $6 foundation, but this one's only $8, which is like half of the Camo CC cream and the hydrating Camo CC cream. So I almost wonder if it's just an improvement over what they already have. And I don't know if they're going to be discontinuing this. I haven't actually checked to see if it's still on the site. But that was a quick touch up. And honestly, yeah, I feel like I could easily go another 3-4 hours with this. I realized that nowhere did I actually answer the question, is the new Soft Glam just a repackaging of the old Flawless Satin Finish? And honestly, I don't know. I really didn't notice a whole lot of difference between them. I think maybe there is a slight improvement in that the new Soft Glam seemed a little more blurring. But as far as wear time and how they looked on my skin and not settling and all of that, they really did perform very well. So I'm glad that if it is a reformulation, they kept all of the good things from the old and maybe added just a little bit new that's better. I think if you loved the old Flawless Finish foundation, you are also going to love the new Soft Glam foundation. If you still have that old one around, you probably don't need to rush out and buy the new one unless you just like getting new things. But when you run out, if it's not available any longer on the e.l.f. website, replacing it with the Soft Glam will probably serve you very well. I feel like it's really rare lately that I've had a foundation that I have liked and can tell you guys, yes, this is really good for our oily, mature skin. But I feel like I can say that for this one. I feel like it looks like skin. It's not heavy, cakey. It didn't settle in anything, anywhere. And even with my oily skin, even though it got a little glowy, I didn't feel greasy, like to the touch. And if I'd used my mattifying primer, it wouldn't have even done that. So what do you think? Have you tried it? If so, let us know down in the description box your skin type, because e.l.f. claims that this is good for all skin types, dry, normal, and oily. So please let us know if you've tried it and what you think. Have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.